Firefighters square off against police officers last night in Perry County, Indiana. Neighbors watch a house burn as the fire chief is hauled away in handcuffs. Good evening, I'm Alexandra Johnson. Brad is off tonight. Officers step on scene and the fire chief tries to protect his turf. Eyewitness News' Stuart Hammer is following the story.
Tuesday evening in Hamilton, Indiana, a fire breaks out at a home not far from the river. No call like this is ever routine, but this one was something else. Life in Hamilton, Indiana, a town with just a handful of stoplights, moves pretty slow. It was anything but slow last night on Night Street around this tight turn.
What was running through my mind essentially was what's going to happen next, and what happened next was horrific.
A house goes up in flames. Hamilton volunteer firefighters arrive in their engines, but one will leave in a cop car.
You know, I was in shock, but when I seen that and the people and the faces of those firefighters, to see their leader being pulled out of here while he was fighting a fire was just unreal. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Indiana State Police say Hamilton Fire Chief Christopher Herzog was arrested and charged with battery against an officer.
This ain't good.
A level 6 felony. Investigators say he pushed a Hamilton police officer multiple times as the officer was trying to clear the house.
I don't condone the use of force on anybody, but if the officer was in danger or whatever, I can't tell you why they did what. But I know there was a lot of people upset.
Francesca Humphrey was there and watched first responders in blue and red butt heads while a fire burned in the background.
They pulled the fire chief out.
He came out, he was arrested, put in handcuffs.
Neighbors there say police officers then told Hamilton firefighters to pack up.
We're in charge of this scene now. And a lot of the fire department guys started saying, well, let's grab our gear and go. Assistant Chief Buck Llewellyn said, no, fellas, we got to make sure this fire's out.
Well, it wasn't.
The house caught on fire again and burnt the rest of the way down.
While first responders feud,
they took him out of here in cuffs.
A man lost his house.
It's heart
and everything
breaking to see
he owns. Now, I spoke briefly to Chief Herzog, who said he was meeting today with an attorney, but he did not return my call for more info. Fortunately, though, no one was hurt in this fire.
All right, thank you, Stuart.
Fire chief arrested for preventing a cop from making a fire worse. House burns as a result. Hamilton, in. Volunteer fire chief Christopher Herzog was recently arrested for attempting to prevent a police officer from making a fire worse. However, the police version of the story makes it sound like Herzog was some crazed assailant attacking heroes. Now, the firefighter is facing a felony. When kindergartners are taught to stop, drop and roll, they are also taught that fire feeds on oxygen and that sometimes a suddenly opened door or window could cause a fire. Unfortunately, Hamilton police officer Ryan Forch did not get the memo. Forch was at the location of the fire and in plainclothes, not dressed as an officer, and was attempting to smash in one of the windows of the house, a move that could have obviously made the fire far worse. Herzog arrived on the scene to witness the blunder, and attempted to prevent the officer from literally adding fuel to the fire, and tried to get him away from the house. Sensing that his authority was being threatened, Forch arrested the fire chief as the house continued to burn. To make matters worse, as the house burned, the police ordered the remaining fire crew off of the property, preventing them from doing their jobs and putting lives and property at risk. Officer Forch claims that Herzog was shouting obscenities at him and shoving him. However, Herzog says that he was simply attempted to defuse a dangerous situation, and even if he was shouting at the officer, he had every right to, considering the circumstances. Chris Zukeshwart, the man who owns the house that was burning, was horrified by the encounter that he witnessed. I was in shock. When I saw the faces of those firefighters, to see their leader being pulled out of here while he was fighting a fire was just unreal, Zukeshwart said. Zukeshwart said that he heard the chief yell to the other firefighters to stay and make sure the fire was put out, as he was dragged away in handcuffs. However, he says that next the police officers took over the scene and ordered the firefighters to leave. We're in charge of this scene now, Zukeshwart says he heard an officer say. Zukeshwart said at that point, a lot of the fire department guys started saying let's grab out gear and go. Sadly, after the chief was arrested and the other firefighters sent away, the police officers did nothing and allowed a fire to completely destroy the house. Herzog was taken into custody and lodged in the Perry County Jail on a charge of battery against a public safety official, a level 6 felony. Soon after the arrest, Herzog was bailed out of jail by Cannelton Mayor Mary Snyder. It is important to note that the National Incident Management System, which sets national standards for first responders in emergencies such as this, states that the first fire unit arriving on the scene of a house fire are the ones to take command of the incident, which means that Herzog was within his rights to take charge of the situation when he arrived on the scene. Image: http://pixel.watch/QUT7. It seems that Officer Forch was more concerned with his own ego and perceived authority than he was with saving lives, which is a dangerous consequence of giving a person unlimited power. Read more at http://fire-chief-arrested-preventing-police-officer-fire-worse/#KLZL6 and KPME5SWEKF.99.